Why?
Really? That's how we're starting it? It's just why? Okay, well, I mean, we're recording. So, we're back with another episode of the podcast / YouTube series of the Yung Grognard here in the, well, I'm revamped with a sweet dungeon background. Not great quality for my hands and stuff, so I'll keep my gesticulations down. And by the way, when I do the podcast, I usually cut the beginning if it doesn't make any sense, because I don't want to give anybody like a minute of having to listen to this crap. But I mean, it's goodies for anybody who wants to find us on YouTube. But nobody finds us on YouTube. Okay, so in the last episode of the show, we had delved deep into the dunking dungeon and faced many froggy foes. The group had battled them in the water, fighting the hawk toads or hawk frogs or whatever you want to call them, the vampire frogs. And then went on to clash with some wacky, waving, inflatable arm funguses, as well as a bunch of bullywugs who are holding up their guard down here. The same pale-looking bullywugs from the initial quest there. And then the party had solved a couple puzzles to get down to the base room, where they found some strange cult-like chamber where a black ooze had been thwomping and slurping on the brains of 3 poor adventurers who the party had known from before, Gallet, Shisa, and the beloved Fabora. But the party had vanquished the apparent froggy cult leader guy, as well as a couple of his minions, saved them, and gathered treasure. On the last episode, we didn't really dive into what treasure it was, but we happen to have a ring of climbing, a couple potions, we had a scroll and a cloak, bunch of money, so, typical adventuring stuff. But we left with the party dealing with the adventurers they saved, who apparently have some strange stage of amnesia. And not to mention, there was an interesting occurrence where Percy had been knocked down in combat, and some strange bit of blackened goop seemed to seep from a crack and grasp at his ear and do some weird noodling in there. But when the party went to go check on what was down in the bottom basin, the well where the big inky foe was, they couldn't actually find it because it had already kind of slurped away. But yeah, so at this point, the party is in the middle of prepping for their long rest, and the amnesic party at this point are wondering what they should do now. And so we begin with Fabora kind of coming over to Vireen, who's probably counting up some silver pieces and gold pieces, stacking them neatly into small stacks. And she says, "I feel like I remember you from somewhere. I'm getting a strange glimpse of something, but unfortunately, I don't recall where." She says, "You have a very agreeable face. Were we friends?"
Negative.
And she says, as she looks dismayed by this, and she kind of like takes a step back, and she's like, "Oh heavens," she said, I hope we weren't foes, were we?"
Not really.
And she says, "Oh, well, we did know each other, didn't we?"
Not really.
"Oh. I guess you just have one of those faces then." But in any case, she, kind of sits down next to you as you're counting the coins up, and she says, "I do offer you my greatest of gratitude for helping save me. Us adventurers do have to stick together, And she says, "And I'm sure once I figure out what's really going on here, I can find some way to repay you guys for whatever happened." But she looks around a couple times and she says, "Are we safe down here?"
I'm not really that sure.
Not sure of much.
Well, I genuinely go into situations and then die, so I'm not a really good assessor of danger.
Everything's dangerous.
So
we killed some monsters, and it looks like the ooze has gone away. So for now, yes, it might be safe.
And as soon as you mention the ooze, she starts kind of like clutching at the back of her head, but in like weirdly, once she gets close, she slows down and like touches at it a couple times and then pulls it away, almost as if like somebody held a hot poker to her head for a second. She like quickly got there, but recognized it wasn't anything. But she starts looking around, and she looks and sees Grus, who's busy in a corner talking to a piece of stone. And she says, "Is that one a member of your group?"
Yep, that she is.
And so she
I
looks
turn
back.
around quickly
We are
and
an
then go
elite
back
crew.
to talking to Jasper.
And so she looks around at the Dragonborn as well, and she says, "And you even have a Dragonborn amongst you?" She says, "If I recall your face, I would have remembered him."
What, you saying he's more agreeable looking than I am?
No.
Oh.
And so then he looks down. She looks down at the Dragonborn, and she says, "I mean, he is tame, right?"
That's a bit of a derogatory way to talk about someone.
I mean, sure, but at the same time, I mean, the Tytherian Empire employs them, and they're not exactly the kindest or most civilized beings. It's not often we see a Dragonborn out here. Pardon me for being concerned for everybody's well-being.
Karsken is looking at the frogs and wondering, could you eat them?
Oh man, I'm getting flashbacks to a campaign where we spent 2 months in a dungeon and all we had was 2 barrels of pickled frogs, and it was just...
And a bunch of soda.
And a bunch of random gnome soda, and every time a new flavor was like, ooh, dandelion, like violet, like mud, like, ooh, good, soda. Yum.
Yeah.
We joke about how bad their breath must have been, but yeah, no, the frogs are entirely edible. Maybe not the bullywugs, but...
Oh, that's what I meant.
Good. No, their intelligence makes them taste disgusting. Kind of. But, okay. And so with that, she just kind of looks a little bit almost like ashamed of herself for having said that to Vireen, and she like raises it, like kind of like leans a hand in and like touches Vireen on the knee as she's counting, and she says, "I didn't mean it like that." She says, I've been around, I've seen a lot of things, and I've dealt with Dragonborn raids myself. She says, Tytherians are not to be reckoned with, and I'm just saying from experiences that, they're just very dangerous people.
Why you put me in this situation, man?
What situation? What, to have to talk about your backstory, booger?
No, I mean, Vireen's like, this person I don't like is touching my leg now.
It's almost like I'm asking you to role play.
So Karsken, after looking over the body for a little while, he's like, yeah, we could eat these, and just turns around and gives a big toothy smile and a thumbs up to everybody. Like, yeah, we're gonna eat well tonight.
So
It's
with
almost as good as Dunkaroos.
A tasty snack that's coming back.
Why do you have to dunker do this to me?
We're all just a bunch of dunker dudes.
And some dunker dames.
I'm gonna just very politely move her arm off my leg and just be like, please don't touch me.
And so with that, she looks ashamed of her own bold action of touching you, and she kind of like recognizes she might have outstepped her boundaries, and she says, "Oh, I meant no offense by it. I'm sorry."
I'm gonna smile at her and be like, no offense was taken, like it's all fine. But Karsken is like an equal member of our party, and as you know, adventurers have to stick together, and as such, we are protective of one another, and that's what's up. But I'll tell her maybe a little bit of a background about what's going on.
Oh, you missed your chance. You missed your chance. Instead, you had to go and patronize her about being racist about dragon people, okay?
I mean, it seemed a bit rude to be like, is he tame?
I'm not wearing a shirt.
He's eating sentient frogs.
They're
In the first
dead.
episode,
I wasn't really
Why let them go to waste?
in the first episode, I think we even talked about eating them, and we all came to the agreement because they were intelligent, but not super intelligent, that they wouldn't be good to eat. But here he is. He's like,
already dead.
Yeah, but they were dead the first time too, Joelle.
Yeah, but we were near a bridge then, and it was hard to come to any decision.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Free,
Yeah.
without a judgment being cast out on us.
And so
I was gonna say, Grus wanted to, after speaking with Jasper, turn around and I ask Vireen, Hey, you think the ooze is like working with the dwarves that are up there?
It could be.
All of a sudden, Gallet jumps up and he says, "Ooze? Where is that ooze?"
It
I don't
oozed
know.
away. Down
So,
there.
He sits down with a harumph, and he says, "Blast it! By the 5,
Did you
I
get
will exact
kidnapped?
my vengeance."
So you
Did
remember
you get it?
something.
He says, "Of course I remember. That ooze was clutching." And he starts to put his hands to his head too, and he's like, I do remember it touching me. And he starts to kind of like go into a little bit of a shell, and he just starts to kind of like,
Can I roll
into
a
brain
religion
land.
check? Just like seeing how like freaked out he is and just being like, do I know of anything like oozy darkness?
I mean, Percy
I
knows all
think
about
of-
it. You already rolled a religion.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
in the last episode. Percy knows
Good
all
to
about
know.
Zombie,
about
though,
about Huiblex and the Raminos, the frog, the bullywug god there of eating everything. But
Okay.
yeah.
So would it be out of the question that some dwarves are trying to like feed this ooze?
Or perhaps the ooze is taking control of them. And
Is this conspiracy time? Is that what this episode is?
Hell yeah!
yes.
Jasper's
to
the one, the
roleplay, okay? And
mastermind
that
behind
means
all of this conspiracy.
You know, you guys are both
role-playing the problem
trying to
solving.
be. You guys are trying to be silly at the exact same time, and nobody can hear you. You know. Okay. So anyway, back to important things. Gallet sits down with a harumph, and he looks over at Percy. What's Percy doing?
Percy's just trying to pull himself back together. Just coming back to. Wondering why his ear feels a little funky.
And and so with that, Gallet looks over at Percy, and he says, "My good man, are you okay? I couldn't help but notice that you just described everything that you look like, and it makes me feel like you're maybe not feeling great."
No, do you know this? I think some of the black ooze crawled into my ear.
Well, actually, you don't know that. You just feel that weird sensation of like that headachy thing. But
Oh, okay.
Grus is the only one who actually saw it happen. So
Yeah,
Grus
can I
is
do a
just being a
medicine
bad
check?
friend.
No, can I do a medicine check?
No,
To, like,
can
check
you do
the ear
a
stuff?
bad friendship check because he was on the ground unconscious and you saw a
He
slug
has a
crawl his
plus
head
15 to that.
of what bad friendship check?
Yeah, expertise.
I don't.
Oh, good.
Okay, I don't have proficiency in bad friendship check.
Would it just be a
Also-
friendship check and then you roll badly, or is
No.
it bad
No,
friendship?
it starts bad.
friendship.
Is
Do you
that a
crit on that?
charisma? Is that
It's
a
like-
charisma stat?
Yeah,
No, it's a strength one.
it's how you get your friends to help
then
you
I'm not
move, but
that
never
bad.
help them move. That kind of stuff.
See, strength check.
Wait, but I want to go look at his ear
But he's not
because
even.
I know it's in there.
Wait, now we're just gonna go check on it. Okay, you know what, Joelle, you have proven
Yeah.
yourself.
So yeah, while I'm talking to him, I'm just like, I don't know. It's just, my ear really is irritating me.
The only thing I'll say is that the only time you ever felt anything was when they first brought up the ooze. You felt a weird chilling sensation in the back of your head too. So it's not even really a thing about your ear so much as like you just felt this weird like your hair stand up in the back of your neck kind of feeling when they said the ooze. So I would say you're definitely more on edge in like a psychological sense rather than like a physiological like there is a slime in my head. You know what I mean?
I want to sing the Stranger Things theme, but I won't because that's.
It's not even a slime. It's black slime, okay?
I know, but I'm just imagining the goosebumps on the hair on the back of his neck.
I don't know that because I didn't watch
Alright.
that.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
Alright.
you did, Dan.
Well, if
Bad
that's the
friendship check,
case,
go.
everyone's like, you don't feel. It's not a bad friendship check. I guess
Well, not
that's
you.
no
I was
mercy.
talking to Sarah.
Oh, I was
It's
just
okay,
like,
Joelle. We all know you whiffed on your check, okay?
I didn't even roll it yet. All right. Well, I'll like tell Percy. Percy, I think the little black slimy thing went in your ear when you went down, and I tried to heal you.
Why didn't you get it out of my ear?
I don't
Yes.
know.
Bad friendship check.
Yeah, like what?
It all happened so fast.
So this slime stuff was touching me, and you decided to heal me first? What?
Oh, that's fine. You can die next time, sir. I don't understand what you want from me. And then I go into the corner and I sob a little as I pet Jasper.
Fabora puts a hand on Vireen and says, I don't think she's taking this well.
Stop touching me.
She pulls her hand back. She says, right, sorry.
So yeah, I think the legs are probably going to be the best part, but I don't know. They all have like this blue organ inside of them, and that could be good. It could be blueberry flavored.
So with that, Shisa just puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, hey guy, I don't think we're eating those things.
Yeah, we're probably not, but he probably is. I don't think it matters what you tell him at this point.
And so he looks back over at you and he's like, fair enough. And he just walks away slowly. Watching the carnivorous Dragonborn getting ready to eat a bullywug.
So that's a no-go on the blueberry organ then, for everybody.
So anyway.
Correct.
I was actually looking at my spells, and I can make, what is it? Minor illusion, make anything taste like anything? Something, where is it? What is it?
That's prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation, I think it is. And when I first saw this, I was thinking of Joelle more because I was like, oh, I can make everything taste like stankfish.
Hell yeah. You're my best
See,
friend.
that's a good friendship check.
Even now I could
Sometimes we make mistakes in our friendship, and then you have Percy.
Just a bunch of black
doesn't
tentacles
care.
crawling out of his head, and you're like, listen, we mess up, okay? We are human.
Yeah.
Heartache to heartache. We stand.
Dunkaroo to Dunkaroo.
Don't bring them up now.
I'm bringing it.
Don't you taint their name with your bad friendship. Dunkaroos are a sign of friendship, okay? The symbology of the
two things
the
coming together
and the goop together, that's friendship, okay? What you are the kid who ate all the frosting first, and then there's just a bunch of these crappy little crackers left over. That's the bad friendship check, Joelle.
Probably even threw out the crackers after, like, savage.
Now those crackers are laying eggs inside of Percy's brain.
Cool. I hope he dies then. I hate this campaign, and I hate all of you.
Joelle, I'm shifting your
Just
alignment to
kidding.
chaotic evil.
Why?
I don't know. I felt
I'm using corruption dice on my next friendship roll.
I don't know how that works. That's a lot of tongue twisting and double negatives. But okay. And so at this point, I think the party is able to take their rest. But I will say, Gallet does extend a bit of warmth to Percy and tries to make it known that at the end of the day, he feels pretty freaked out too. And seeing how you're kind of like being all twiggy about it, he also kind of like extends a sign of like he will look out for you when you're resting, sort of like back to back kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so the party's free to rest. Is anybody going to be on watch, or is it just going to be nap time in the dank dungeon?
Maybe we should take shifts.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the only thing that's gonna come bug us is weird frog hawks or dwarves.
Oh, D&D, what a game.
Which either way, we should be ready.
We will only be bothered in the slime cave by either frog hawks or dwarves.
Maybe slime.
Or baby slime.
Yeah.
I think Karsken is probably going to take his bedroll and pull out like a little bit of like the cotton or whatever it's stuffed with, you know what I mean? And just sort of like offer it to everybody and be like, yeah, if you guys want to like plug your ears and nose while you sleep, I don't think we're gonna always see if some of that ooze just comes out of the ground and all that. So if it helps you sleep, you can use some of this.
Very good.
I take some.
Gallet graciously accepts some and starts stuffing it in there. But Shisa and Fabora both look a little bit bewildered by this idea.
It seems safe to me.
See, that's
Yes.
content that the podcast.
Playing.
That's content the podcast can appreciate.
Grus, some of that was for your ears too. You just have so much. Like you took an entire handful. Like that was for pretty much everybody. Is it all in your nose?
Maybe I have a really big nose.
It's totally not annoying or anything.
No.
You know, okay, so anyway, yeah, people start stuffing their noses and orifices with stuffing. Very good. Okay.
I think Karsken will probably take like first watch.
Okay. Shisa will take second if anybody else wants to get in on the watchies.
I'll do third.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I will say that in the fourth watch, I'm going to need a perception check.
Cover your ears.
That's a
what?
2.
Oh, very good. Okay, so everybody sleeps soundly and enjoys the rest. And so you guys wake up after a few hours. And at this point in time...
Steady eyes of Vireen watching over us while we slept. We all slept comfortably. Not a fear in the world.
And so with that, the party and the other party awaken comfortably, and the other group start gathering up their belongings and get their gear and their weapons and whatnot. And it seems that once they've woken up, like the group of them are looking at you guys and looking at their surroundings, and they're like, what are we doing down here?
We should go.
And I say, Fabora kind of steps forward and she says, no, I asked a question. Why are we down here?
I don't know why you're down here.
What's the last thing you guys remember?
And she says, I woke up down here and I don't remember much else of what happened. She says, I'm just curious as why me and my friends are down here with you people again. She says, I thought we got rid of you when we ended up in
okay, good.
Sheerwallow.
We're all back on the same page again. Perfect.
Ah.
All right, peace. And then we just start looking for the exit and leave them there.
And so with that, Shisa and Gallet sort of step forward and they say, well, hold on. They say, what exactly are we doing down here?
Being extremely rude, as always.
And so
Have a great day.
They look over at Fabora and they say, listen, don't let her be the one to do the talking here. And Fabora seems to get a little steamy at that. But Shisa steps forward again and puts an arm on your shoulder and he says, listen, we're friends here. He says, whatever it is that we're doing down here, it seems like you must have helped us in some way. And you have my trust. He says, why are we here?
You came down here looking for treasure for some dwarves. If it was anything like our situation, it wasn't by choice, but I don't know, must have gone south for you guys. We found one of your weapons a few rooms back and then found you guys chained up over that pit there. Some black ooze going into your mouth, your nose, your ears. You had temporary amnesia. We watched over you while you slept, and now you're all good again.
So I guess that makes us even.
And so that Gallet kind of just says, he says, that was a fair synopsis.
It's a gift.
Shisa kind of just looks back and looks forward and says, he should do recaps. No, he won't. And Shisa just kind of steps forward and he says, well, if it's any consolation, if I lost a weapon on the way here, as he's kind of looking at his empty holster and sees that his sword is missing, he says, if we lost a weapon or if there's fighting on the way, he says, we should all just go together. He says, there's no need to be hasty. He says, all the help that we can give is all the help I'm sure you will appreciate.
You two can come, but she can't.
So with that, Fabora just like Fabora looks back and forth at her two comrades and looks over at Vireen and she says, oh, what, am I supposed to be locked down here to die?
I mean, I'm considering it.
And she says, and what is it exactly that I've done wrong to you?
I just don't really like you that much.
And so
Wow.
she just
there was that time you took everything I owned
And then
except
you
for a
took all of our
bedroll and a
stuff and
shield.
then
But it's
but you
fine.
know, adventurers have to stick together. So you can come, but
And so
Still
she
You're
don't
not gonna like charge us when we get out of this for your protection. Like, be like, oh yeah, nice job. We got you through that. Give us all your money again.
And so with that, Fabora starts looking around at her gear and she says, I don't think that you guys really have much reason. My money is gone, and I'm assuming you might know where exactly it ended up. And if I was to ask you guys to pay me for the protection, I would assume that you guys... In any case, okay. And she just kind of looks absolutely flustered by this whole situation and just points forward and says, well, then let's be off.
Great, you can tell me about your dragon while we walk.
Can I give her
I
7 gold?
saddle up right next to her.
And what were you saying, Sarah?
I was just gonna say, can I give her 7 gold?
Nice.
And so she looks at it as you hand it over piece by piece, painfully clicking each one on top of the pile. And she looks at the coins in her hand and she says, well, I guess this is what I had coming to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, the party just heads on up the stairwell they came in. And one thing I will say is that it's eerily quiet as you guys are heading out, and as you head through the chamber that had all the faces on the walls and go to the chamber with the wacky inflatable purple funguses. And this place is pretty much like dead empty. But as you guys are walking past that little section of river, and you can see the cavernous passage where the hawk toads were. You guys hear the sound of a loud, like something heavy just falling into the water and just making a huge like noise in the distance, and it sort of echoes with waves rattling in the aquatic chamber up ahead. So everybody stops
right?
dead in their tracks and starts looking back and forth at each other. And Shisa says, would you like me to look ahead?
Yeah, I'll go with you.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. And so with that, yeah.
Vireen, why don't you stay back here and I'll go. Just we've had some good times with you exploring dark passages, and that's great, but
I throw my torch into the water. I'm so chaotic. How chaotic are you? I don't even need a light source.
Sure. I mean, I'm stealthy. I feel like I'm a stealthy, stealther.
yeah, I mean, if I had to put my stealth-like abilities into quantitative terms, I would say I'd have like at least a +4 to it myself. So.
Yeah, okay. That's the game we're playing now.
Then
Okay.
you go. I am definitely happy to not get eaten again.
If you were to quantify yours, Sarah, would you say yours is probably exactly a 4 as well?
What?
Your stealth?
I'm not into labeling myself or ranking myself.
Go ahead, tell us the
So-
number while we're out here
Nice.
measuring our swords out here.
Is this just a measuring contest now?
Oh, look at that. If we had to quantify it, I guess it would be a pretty even split, wouldn't it? But, okay. And so with that, Shisa just kind of looks back and forth at the two of you and he says, all right, let's go, big guy.
Beep beep.
He says, what does that mean? And Gallet says, I suspect Draconic. And so with that, Shisa just kind of nods a couple times and he says, so be it, beep beep it is. And so he starts skulking up ahead over the water and makes very little noise at all. What did you get on a stealth check?
13.
Okay. And so the two of you start sneaking up ahead and going up to the cavern. And once you peek off in the distance and see the light bleeding through from above through the little stonework into the aquatic cavern where the frogs were, you guys see a series of like 3 bodies floating in the water. And each of them seems to be about human-sized. And can I get a quick investigate or an intelligence check, rather, if you don't have investigate?
Nat 20.
Damn. So one of those bodies that's flipped over the other way has a brutal wound in his chest, and he looks just like the guy who got on the boat and claimed that it was his boat, one of the fishermen.
Oh no.
And this is coming down from like the well where the dwarves threw us down, essentially, as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's
The other ones are all dead as well. The other
what's
guys
the
in the water.
wound, like deep wound, as in like a gash or a weapon or?
That'd be a medicine check. I mean, it looks pretty brutal. It doesn't look like, a dragon ripped them in half or anything like that. But
I got a 15 on that.
yeah, I mean, you could surmise that it's not like it's not like claw marks or anything like that. Like, it looks like
Okay.
one hefty laceration, like one big axe chop or something.
Fucking dwarves. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into the water and like sort of pull at the bodies off onto the shore and probably tell Shisha he can go and tell the others they can come up.
Okay. So Shisa just kind of like whispers back to the group and tells everybody to approach. And he doesn't really say to do it stealthily or anything like that, so everybody's free to just move up as they please.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
So everybody comes
Is the
skulking up to the
water-
cavern.
Is the ground like muddy or is it stone or?
It's stone. I mean, there's some sections where there's like some silt deposit from all the erosion, but for the most part, it's just stone. But yeah, you guys can see that Karsken has jumped in and he's pulling back a group of bodies, and it seems pretty clear the way that the bodies kind of held up that the one of those guys you all see as being pretty familiar, and it definitely looks like the dude who got on the boat.
Mess up.
Well, looks like the dwarves re-stole the boat, but
Really?
they probably put up a bit more of a fight for it that time.
And so with that, Shisa looks to everybody again and says, so how exactly are we getting out of here?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd find like a alternative passage or something, Didn't seem to have played out that way.
Well, any ideas?
Anybody got a grappling hook?
Well, the water has to have come from somewhere.
It could just be water that kind of stays in here when the thing opens up. The sinkhole and whatnot.
Mm.
And we checked all the passages.
And the
My rope got used when I was a meat meat yo-yo.
Grab them back.
Yeah,
what you do in your own time, Sarah, is your own business, okay?
Listen, quarantine, all right, man, pushes us
To meat lollipops?
us to our limit.
you find out some things about yourself that you just never knew before.
You learn things that you never thought you were capable of.
You learned some things about Sarah. So at this point, we're all just kind of standing on the cliffside. The overall distance from the water's edge to the well mouth is about 15 or so feet. I'm sorry, like 15, 20 feet.
Yeah.
Can Grus climb out? Because you've got +2 to climbing.
I do with this
Could you,
little
like,
rad
climb
ring
up?
of mine.
Although I'm nervous for you to climb up and have there be a bunch of dwarves at the top who just like decapitate you as you like pop your head out.
I mean, they think we're down here getting them treasure. If we if we can shout to them that we have the treasure, and maybe they'll put a rope down.
I mean, again, for whatever it's worth, Percy in the last episode made a pretty compelling argument to Warjack and told him basically that they were square. So it seems like, I mean, that's probably still an honored agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So if Percy goes back and he's like, yo, I did the deed we said.
We might have to give them some of the loot we found, though.
I've always had this ring.
Yes.
The greatest
no,
ring ever.
you keep your ring. You'd get some gems that they would probably be interested in.
Yeah, we can give them the gems.
We might have to give them some of that golden stuff.
Don't
No,
even think about
don't-
it.
don't
Don't
tell
put it
them.
out
Don't
as a
even tell
possibility in the world. We've
Grus,
got 4 gems and they're worth 50 gold each.
yeah. All right, so I'll take those and do the negotiating.
So do you want the ring so you can climb up?
Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
You can also just yell up to them.
Yeah, we can just shout
Yeah.
and let them know. Like I said.
Yeah, so I'll shout up. Hey, so we found some treasures down here. Do you mind tossing down a rope so we can get out?
Okay. Nobody answers.
Sounds about right.
Huh. I shout louder.
Okay. Damn. You know that
Where's
funny
my-
moment when you
where-
roll a 2
What do I roll?
and then you roll a 3? Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody notices
what do-
you after like 2 minutes of you just shouting out. So the party just kind of hangs out here with the sense of hopelessness slowly draping. When answering your prayers, you hear the sounds of footsteps and kind of stumbling, grumbling voices, and you hear a group of men come to the entrance by the well, and as you start to get ready to yell up to them to get their attention, punctuating their arrival is a body getting tossed down to the water. And it leaves a huge cannonball splash and gets water everywhere.
And it's another sailor man.
Aww.
And so,
Well,
go ahead and shout up.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I'll shout up again and say the same thing.
Okay. And so with that, one dwarf kind of comes walking over to the entrance, and he peeks his head down and he says, "What's that? You got stuff?"
Yeah, we were able to find a little bit of treasure.
So you can hear him whistling and kind of speaking in Dwarvish. Does anybody speak Dwarvish?
I do.
I do as well.
How do I not?
You know, that's a good question, Joelle.
Oh, because I have a -1 in intelligence.
Yeah, but that doesn't impact it in this edition.
No?
Nope. It's just backgroundy stuff. But fair enough. So you guys can overhear them saying, "Get the basket ready." And so with that, all of a sudden, a big wicker basket gets roped down to you guys, and it's in the water's edge. And it's at this length, kind of like, what's the word for that? The pendulum, like sort of like swinging back and forth, kind of like the pendulum swinging under a grandfather clock. And I say, "Go ahead, put your stuff in."
Can I fit in the basket?
I would say no.
Aw.
I mean, if you got in it, they would very clearly know it was not coinage.
Prestidigitation.
We are
You
unfortunately
can't just
very...
say prestidigitation and have it change everything. Like, I'm 6 feet tall, prestidigitation.
What about thaumaturgy?
Wow. What about thaumaturgy?
It won't do anything to make me look different. Damn it.
So now that the basket's swinging down here, what's the plan?
Am I able to get into the basket or step up?
Wait,
No.
why is Percy
No, the
able to
basket's-
get it and I can't?
No,
The
like
basket's
I'll put
like-
a foot in and hold on to the rope.
Well, at this
Um,
point, I mean, they're holding on to it over the edge, and they can see you guys down there. So they say, "Go ahead, put the stuff in."
Um,
I put in one of the gems.
Okay. And they see you pull out the one gem and put it in, and with that, the dwarves up ahead start grumbling, and in Dwarvish you can hear them saying something about it being a scam. And
In Dwarvish back, I'm gonna say, once you get us up, you'll get the rest.
so with the, I love how Percy's just paddling in the water, and he's like, just barks back in Dwarvish. He's just like, "Hey, hey." But with that, they start to kind of chuckle to themselves, and they say, "I bet you'd like that."
Okay, can I cut the rope so they don't get that one?
You want to cut the rope? Well, just start tugging it up. But with that, one of them says, "Warjack ain't here. We don't have to honor your deal, bud."
Can I see them? Because they can see me, right? Can I shoot them?
Yeah.
I love how you put the thing in. You're like, "All right, we have a deal," and then they're just sitting there like, "Nuh-uh." Like Shoot him. Okay. I also want it to be
shot
known.
first. You heard it here first, folks.
I also just want to, like, span this out a little bit. If there are a lot of dwarves out there and you shoot one, it might be a little bit harder to get out now.
Yeah. Only like one or two can see through the entrance at a time. That's fine. I have plenty of ammo.
No, but they'll just leave. Like,
Yeah,
they'll just put a
Well,
rock
no.
over the exit.
and then we
walk
will
Warjack-
ring to.
Might not be here now, but he will come back. And if he comes back and we're not,
Who's
Up
going to
there.
come back? Warjack?
yeah.
That's an assumption.
But I'm sure, I'm just saying to them,
Yeah.
like, assuredly, he's going to come back. And when he comes back, he'll be pissed off. And, then he'll be a problem.
Maybe it was all a trap the whole time, and they didn't care about treasure. They just wanted us to die.
So you can roll a persuasion on that. If you're actually trying to tell that up to them. If you want to take the shot, you can take the shot. I'm just saying that it will be definitely very damning for the group. If that's what
You said
Percy's going to do.
persuasion, right?
Yeah.
So 23.
Was Percy going to take the shot?
I'm gonna get ready to take a shot at the basket so we get the gem back.
Yeah, I mean, you can just scoop it. And the time it takes
Okay.
them to grab, you can just grab it back. I won't do that to you. Okay, and then you said 23?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the two dwarves look back and forth at one another, and they kind of start snickering down at you guys, and they say, yeah, that's if he comes back.
Yeah. So as I scoop the gem, I'll be like, "Well, if he comes back, that's when you guys can get your treasure," and I'll walk off.
And then the other one kind of grabs the other guy by the beard for a second. He says, as he pulls him in close, he says, yeah, but if the boss comes back, he's going to be very mad at us, just like that lady said. And he talks back in Dwarf and he says, don't you think I know that? I'm trying to look tough. He says, if I'm going to be the next leader of this group, I have to look strong for my men. He says, but it's only us. He says, yeah, I'm trying to look strong for you right now. And he looks back and he says, I'm flattered, but I don't think it's worth us dying over. And he says, that's a good point. Okay.
Just climb on up there.
And then they lower the rope down, and one of the two dwarves say, go one at a time.
While this whole exchange was happening, could I have been looking for like loose stones and stuff to do like one of those above ground stone burials where they just put like a mound of stones over people's bodies? Because I just feel bad, like leaving.
Oh, yeah. Doing like a cairn sort of thing.
Yeah.
You stack them up. Yeah, there's enough stones that you can start doing that. And
Yeah.
once Gallet notices what you're doing, he starts joining in too, and Shisa also joins in on it.
Nice.
And then Grus
feel like I have
puts Jasper on top, and it's like, Jesus, man,
That's exactly what happened.
And then we hear shaking from under the stones.
Zigger out of pain. Okay, so everybody else is having rock stacky time, and they lower the rope down and they say, all right, one at a time. No funny business.
So I'll hand the gems to Vireen and start heading up the rope.
Yeah,
Okay.
the person with the gems should go last.
Got them, stupid dwarves. Okay, and so they start helping you get up to the top. Once you get up to the top, you can see that there's about 3 more dead fishermen that have been dragged up. They're all wounded, like badly, as if chopped by axes and hit by hammers and whatnot, crossbow bolts and the like. And they're stacked in a small pile that's been sort of disrupted, as if they stacked the pile and then they're slowly dropping them into there. And the 2 dwarves look at you with greasy and cunning little smiles to them, and they say, all right, deal's a deal. Give us the gems.
Gems will be with the last person to come up.
And so they look back and forth at each other, kind of bum-fuzzled by this, and they both give it like a snide look, and they say, but then you're helping hold the rope.
That's
Got
not by
'em.
me. What happened to these folks? And I point to the bodies.
And they look back and forth at you, and they say, well,
Got in your way?
what's funny about that is they came here looking to help save you guys, saying that they hadn't seen you come back to town and figured there was some funny business. And so we showed them what happens when you mess with us dwarves.
Yeah, they shouldn't have crossed paths with you.
And so
What
with that,
did they just shout?
look, brow.
I see.
So who's the second to climb up?
Grus, come on up.
Okay.
Okay, and who's going to be after Grus?
Probably Fabora, Shisha, and Galad, and then me, and then Vireen.
Okay.
Yep. Before I go up, can I like divide the pouch of gems and put 2 in the pouch and then take 2 out and hide them on my person?
Yeah, roll a sleight of hand for that.
I mean, you could slip a couple to Karsken too.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I might give a couple to Karsken. I got 7.
So you like put one behind your ear. I'm just kidding. Okay. And
That's
so
a neat magic trick, mister.
So very good. So you have 2 in the pouch, and then you have 2 hidden on you.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now up here, do we outnumber them because there's only 2 of them?
Yeah, it would seem so.
So I'm gonna stop holding the rope because we have enough other people to hold it, and ready my crossbow.
They're just like, man, this job stinks, and all of a sudden it's just Percy just loading the crossbows up, restraining. He's like, yeah, this job does stink.
Yeah,
Quite a lot.
Tough to hold this rope, bud.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll fire on them as Vireen starts coming up.
Okay, yeah, you get advantage on both shots because they are definitely not prepared for this. The 2 dwarves having these little thoughts where they're like, man, our boss is going to be so pumped that we helped. They're like, hey, what's that thing right there? Chunk.
15 and
Okay.
an 18.
Yeah, those are both hits. So that's so fucking silly. Vireen's just coming up, has no idea. All of a sudden the rope just drops a second, and then you just hear people getting shot, and you're like, damn it, Percy. Here I am looking like a meat lollipop down here.
Yeah, the frogs come back at the very end.
Kind of nervous coming up on my own that one of them would just suddenly fly out of the water and be like, I'm not dead, bitch, and just like...
No.
The first one is 6 damage. The second is 8.
Okay, yeah, both of them drop dead from the shots as you cap both of them.
And then I'll let Vireen get up and then push them into the water.
Okay. So as Vireen's coming up, all of a sudden just blunk, and another one blunk. And so with that, Shisa, Fabora, and Gallat look at you, Percy, and they say, I take it the people in the water, you knew them pretty well?
Just people who crossed us who shouldn't have.
And so with that, they kind of give a quick nod, and they say, all right, duly noted. And so, and so like, well, okay. And so with that, the group is standing at the bottom of that little sinkhole thing with the rope in check, and you have all the gems still. You guys are at the base of that thingy there. Yeah, there's the pile of remaining bodies over beside you as well. And you do recognize them now that you're getting a better look. They just look like townies. They look like fishermen. You do recognize another one as being the guy on the bridge who was fishing over there.
Not the bridge.
The bridge strikes
He
back.
was taking big risks by being on that bridge, so that's on him.
Do
And
we
so,
see Obi among them?
no.
Okay.
My boy Obi's still alive.
Do any of them have one arm?
No, none of them have just one. And so at this point, what would you guys like to do?
Head back to town, I guess.
For a boat?
Okay.
How many bodies are there?
The 3 of them that are stacked up.
How long would it take to bury them?
Probably a long time.
Uh,
Could I get a perception check really quick too from everybody?
Nat 1. That's my peep and die.
5.
13.
And what'd you get, Sarah?
5.
Okay.
I got a dirty 20.
Okay. So both Grus and Percy can hear in the distance the sound of like a group of dwarves all of a sudden in Dwarvish hoot up and a cheer of exclamation. Percy just hears them yelling in the distance. He just hears all of a sudden like a big like, "Rawr!" But Grus can hear that it sounds more like celebratory rather than like anything else. You know what I mean? Like they're like, hey.
I want to give Shisha his sword back.
And so he gives you a bit of a wink and a nod, and he says, I appreciate it. He says, so are we going to head back to town now?
We might have to deal with some rowdy dwarves who seem really happy, which I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, we might run into problems with them, so you all might want to get ready.
Because they're like outside right now.
Yeah, you guys can go, and well, I don't think we're going to be doing much talking with the dwarves, but if anything comes up, we'll tell them we didn't see you down there, so there'll be no bad blood, and you guys can get on your way. But
We should all hide.
those men over there, that pile, they were here because of us, and I'm going to set things right.
And so with that, Gallet sort of, I don't want to say he kind of like does like a Captain Falcon sort of, yeah, but he does like, he says, a good deed done by a good man.
Dragon Man, yeah.
Yeah. And so with that, Fabora says, I appreciate you guys helping us back there. And if there's anything I can do in the future to help out, she says, I know we seem to be even, but I don't want things to feel like they're ending in bad blood. She says, as she turns to Vireen and says, whatever it is that lies between us that causes more animosity than we need to have, she says, is purely just bad role-playing at this point. I'm just kidding. And so,
I was already over here like, oh, I'll let it go. Now I'm like, fuck that.
DM made a funny joke. And so with that, she says, but if there's anything I can do, she says...
I slap her. No, I'm just kidding.
She says,
Oh,
if there's anything I can do, perhaps if you need anything of a magical tutor, she says, I'm sure I could assist in some way if you need any assistance with anything. She says, we're probably going to be in town only for the night to get our bearings, and then we're going to probably leave, maybe go back to Silver Sheen, she says, but good luck to all of you.
I look
Good luck to you.
Fabora dead in the eyes and mouth the word dragon.
And she says, and she looks you back, and she just mouths the word, no.
Big thumbs up from Karsken.
Okay. And so they head off into the woods and start heading back to town. But now you guys are there and hear another raucous shout now that you're all kind of tuned in for it, and you hear it. And in Dwarvish, now that you're all tuned in, you can hear somebody yell something about one of the dwarves winning something, and they all just start cheering, and they start talking about how it's like, I don't know, you can hear people starting to rabble-rouse in the distance about how it's an unforeseen victory, some sort of thing that happens with a skill of chance, like a game of chance, where one of them just like, he's like, oh my god, can you believe he got Yahtzee again? Dwarvish Yahtzee. But it does sound like it's probably like 500, 600 feet away.
So this area coming down, there were like a bunch of like rocks outcropping the ground and stuff. Are any of them large enough for us to like hide behind?
Well,
I
the
think
thing
that's
is,
how you described it, right?
it's like a sinkhole. Yeah,
but
and
there's,
in
like,
the
rocks.
center is the big clump of huge rocks. So you guys are still technically like in the mouth of the rocks. I imagine you're all still kind of just chilling out in like the little alcove here. But yeah, so you guys are totally outside anything that could be them seeing you, them hearing you. It sounds like they must have a camp off in the distance, maybe in like a clearing nearby.
Oh, okay, so I see. They're like celebrating nearby. They're not heading this way. Okay, I got you.
No, yeah.
Okay, so we can head that way and try and get the drop on them if you want, or
Could I peek up to kind of see if I can see them from here?
I would like to go with him if I can.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
so you guys,
we might as well just head up.
since you guys are in the sinkhole, you're going to have to go to like the top rim of it. But once
Yeah.
the party starts heading in that general direction of north, you guys can see that there is, at the outcropping of the trees, you guys can see smoke billowing in the distance. But it seems like their camp might be in another little bit like of a lowered spot amongst a bunch of trees. Even if they are in a clearing, it does seem like they're still kind of encapsulated by trees. So though you can't see their camp, you can definitely hear them, and you see smoke rising. And at this point, you're about 350 feet away.
Oh wow,
Can
we're
we
getting
set
close.
fire to their camp some way?
And Vireen starts the National Forest Fire.
I was thinking that earlier, actually. I was like, are they in a forest? Because we could just set fire to it in a circle around them.
You know, maybe this is just my DM time to be annoyed here. Why do players always have to set everything on fire? Is that how you think this works? Just
Why
that that's
wouldn't
just
you?
I mean, I
life's
knew that wasn't
problems.
a solution,
In a
but in my head,
fantasy
I was like, that
world-
would be very cinematic.
Yeah, it's like, fuck. What's gonna happen? We're in a swamp, you know?
How are you so assured that the trees are going to catch on fire? Okay, I'm done entertaining it. If you want to light the little camp on fire,
We
Go
can't
ahead.
see the camp yet, right?
no. I mean, you see the camp, but you don't see, like, in the camp.
Do you
This
want me
is
to
why
just
I
shoot
always try and
blindly?
keep oil.
Well, I
on
just
my
want to see how many
characters.
dwarves there are.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys stay up here, you can do an investigation check. But, sorry, here, let me stipulate. It will be investigate if you're proficient. You can add your proficiency bonus, but it's a wisdom-based check. So roll wisdom at proficiency if you have
So,
investigate.
A wisdom investigate?
Yeah, people don't know that. 5th edition, that's actually how it works.
15.
Everything's an ability check that you add proficiency if it's, related. So,
I got
technically-
another nat 20.
okay.
I got a
I am-
16.
Crushing
Okay.
investigation today.
And what did you get, Joelle?
Ba-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-da.
She got the Pirates of the Caribbean theme.
Damn
I
it. Not
did.
again.
No, it's the best. 14.
Okay, and Sarah, you got 16?
15.
Okay, 15. So everybody can tell pretty clearly. It sounds like there's got to be at least 6 or 7 of them at most. With the 20, it definitely sounds like 16. I mean, sorry, 6 of them, sorry.
Oh my god.
Just 16 out of
5
them.
or 6, 16.
There was 10 of them that were just watching.
There's anywhere between 2 to 30 dwarves over there.
All right, Gygax, calm down. Okay, and so now what would the party like to do?
I think we can take on 6 dwarves, guys.
Chip.
I mean, 2 of them were pretty easy, so yeah.
Very good. Okay, so would the party like to stealth over there, or just walk over there, or what?
Stealth.
I mean, Grus, if you want to stay... What's your weapon? You have a crossbow?
Yes, and a mace.
Okay, I mean, if you guys
I
want to stay...
figured you go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll hide, and if I see one of you drop down because you're injured, I come help.
Just, if you guys stay like 100 feet back, I think that keeps them within range of all your weapons and stuff. Or maybe not. I don't know what your spell ranges are and everything, but figure.
Well, my heals, I have to go touch people.
But yeah, I mean for Vireen too, because I don't.
I will also say, just for the sake of storyline and role playing here, that Grus.
I would hide.
Well,
Grus usually hides.
that aside, even farther back than that, these are all mountain dwarves, and you do come from the Citadel where these mountain dwarves come from. Which
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel good because it feels like they're living up to a stereotype that everyone else is always portrays them as, and I know that not all of them are like this, and it sucks that this group is kind of ruining it for everyone because they're trying to become serious and a part of this. But I also don't think Grus, does she know any of them? Do any of them look familiar? I don't think Grus is the type that would just be like, hey, you're giving a bad name to everyone around you. This is a scary situation, but I would let the party know after this. And, maybe if I could get into contact with the people I know up there. And I'm like, look, these guys are doing stuff. We need to do something about this.
Which, I mean, like any other race in this game, there's going to be bad eggs. And in the case of, I don't know, Dragonborn, where it's assumed that they're all pretty awful, sometimes they're nice guys.
Yeah.
And people make assumptions sometimes, and it's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
But
So-
in
I
any
like
case,
it.
Well, the Dragonborn need to be tamed.
well,
But yeah, I don't think I would be Grus would be the type to go and call him out. She's already just kind of a really cautious.
no, of
scared
course. I'm
ways.
just making sure that it's known, just for the sake of storyline and role playing, that these are people that share a homeland with you and share the same sort of strife and the same sort of conflicts that you have. So it's dealing with them. There's a certain party that understands their issue of being in a weird economic place and having to make a life for themselves. But it's kind of like if you lived in I don't know, if you were a human in a poor kingdom and people turned to banditry, you'd look at that situation and be like, I can empathize, but like, guys, come on.
Yeah, banditry's one thing, murder's another. That's
True.
Yeah.
That's where Karsken draws the line.
Very good. Okay, and so the party's plans now for moving forward are Grus is going to be shooting from the trees.
Yeah, I'll shoot from trees.
And
Yeah,
was there other...
Karsken will try and get as close as possible without alerting them.
Alright.
Okay. And then we're all level 2s now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did anybody actually get a new archetype or anything, or is that level 3?
Level 3.
Okay.
I got new domain. I got like channel divinity and stuff like that. So they're not dead doors, are they? So I can turn them.
They're
No?
not undead dwarves. They just know how to party.
I got that sweet action surge now.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
and
Just what we
and
needed.
Bruce both got new spells, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and so with that, what's the plan for everybody else with the distance from the camp?
I'll sit back next to Grus, a good like 10 feet away.
Okay. And then is Vireen going to follow suit with that?
Yeah, I want to be like 30 feet away.
Okay.
So with that, I'll
Yeah.
turn to Grus and be like, you should mosey your way a little closer.
Okay.
there like
Is there
a
a big
bush?
rock? Or like a big old rock that I can hide behind?
I mean, there's a human up there you could hide behind.
What?
I don't like that. What do you mean a human? I can
Because
hide behind?
Vireen is going up
Oh.
ahead.
I'm
I don't
not
think that
gonna
made it
hide
any
behind
better.
Vireen. No.
But
I
let's get
understand that you try to patronize me all the time, but like that one's just dumb.
Can we get a stealth check from everybody who's going to be doing the hiding? And a stealth check, actually, stealth check from everybody for approaching. Even though I know Karsken's going to be moving in, if he's making a racket getting down there, then...
11.
Now remember, if people want to go ahead and push, or whatever, use their chaos dice, like go ahead and use your corruption die. But, so we got an 11. What else?
I got a 22.
Damn.
I got a 13.
Okay. And what do we got from you, Percy?
I got a 10, but I'm just staying back, so I'm not
Yeah.
really moving.
Yeah, the idea being that like you guys are going to be getting close-ish to the camp, so it's like if you guys are snapping on twigs and whatnot, then it will cause a bit of alarm. But it seems like as you guys approach the camp, it doesn't seem like you guys are noticed at all. But I will say that as the party enters the perimeter and Karsken approaches, gets into a big bush and starts to get ready to like jump out of it at the right angle, there's a group of like 4 tents set up out here, big tents. There's a big fire pit going, and then you can see on the spit like something like a giant frog being cooked up on it. You can see a couple
Nice.
casks of ale set up that have already been tapped, and you see a group of 6 rowdy dwarves sitting around a table, and they all seem to be playing some game with cards and dice, and you notice that at that table there are in fact 2 dwarves who appear to be twins. And that's where we're going to end this episode.
Oh, snap.
What?